And we are back at Up North at 4. We are here with a new series, White Arrows. And this is Kristen Lenz, who's the owner at White Arrows. Kristen, thank you for joining us here today. This is your first time.
Yes, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to meeting you and Jeff and being part of the series.
Of course. So this is White Arrows. I guess maybe a little bit of a background information. White Arrows, you know, where did you come up with that name?
Well, when you drive around the North Woods, I moved here about 13 years ago, and the first thing I noticed were all the wooden White Arrow signs everywhere that pointed you to the supper clubs and the homes and the cottages and all the businesses. And I started blogging, and the first thing I thought of was, it has to be White Arrows to tell about the history of the North Woods and how we live it now, too. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And so where are you located?
In Minocqua.
In Minocqua. Okay. So let's. So it's a shop, right?
Yes.
And you have a lot of I guess the main point behind it is nostalgia, antique items, and memories.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I love to encourage people to decorate spaces, style things that make people want to come and linger longer, so you can have a lot of fun with family and friends and start to build memories. And so many of our customers come in and they're talking about they just acquired a new cabin and it's full of old things that they don't know what to do with anymore. Or they have grandparents' items that they don't know what to do with. And we love to show them how to use it in a new way so that it can mix in any style of home and continue to tell the story and build memories. So I brought a few of the things along.
Well, so let's start with, so these are kind of like old books, would you say?
Yep, so old books make great statements anywhere. You can use them, as you can see on some of the pictures. All these pictures are from my own home. They can be stacked up. They can find books that have titles that you love. You can turn them backwards if you don't like the spines of them and just have all the white pages showing. They're just beautiful ways to collect books all over the place.
Wow, and of course you have like a lamp, but there's something, it looks like very special because it looks kind of antique.
Yeah, so the old lanterns, I love to use these as table centerpieces. I have some going all the way down my table in my dining room, and I also hang them on my boathouse, because I think one thing people need to remember is that you're on a lake, the back is also a really important place to decorate. It's almost like having a second front porch.
Right.
Because so many people see it from the lakeside.
Okay, and then what else do we have?
I love decorating with minnow buckets.
Okay.
I use these to hold toilet paper in a bathroom. I use them as a vase. I use them to hold beers and drinks outside. There's so many ways to use it. Use sunblock. You can fill it with sunblock and keep it outside. It just elevates things. Old thermoses. So many of the things work great as a vase. They are easy to put flowers in and then set them somewhere, or just use them on your mantle for display. If you have a piece like a fishing creel, a vintage fishing creel, or anything you want to protect, I take mason jars and use those inside to keep the product safe. So you just fill it with water and put the flowers in that.
Wow, okay, so definitely a lot of stuff that you can kind of like turn it into like something unique in a way.
Yes.
Okay, and then I know we have other pieces, so tell us a little bit more. I think they're on the other side. There's water skis, right?
Yes, I love old water skis. I love using old sporting equipment as artwork almost.
Okay.
So if you have old skis, maybe you've got an old boathouse that's full of just things like life jackets, skis, or things that you don't think really matter anymore, they look great hung on the wall. And I just use picture hangers on the back, screw those in, and then I can just hang them up like a piece of art.
I love that. And what else we have? I know that there's a couple of other things on there.
Yeah, we have blankets. I love old camp blankets.
Okay.
Lining them up and hanging them where you can take them right out to the campfire with you to stay warm, because in the North Woods, so many of our evenings are still cool. Throwing them over couches, the end of a bed, that's great to have those as well.
Okay.
Vintage glassware is wonderful to have. Start traditions where the grandkids or your best friends that come to visit can't wait for mornings at the cabin because they get to drink out of those old vintage orange juice glasses.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so lots of fun things.
Yeah, and there's also, I know that, and then what about vintage? You mentioned vintage, so games and puzzles.
Games and puzzles. I think it's so important to leave things out where people can see them, not just in a closet somewhere, but when you leave games stacked or a puzzle out on the table that lets everybody just come together and work on it, or find a quiet spot for yourself to work on the puzzle. It can just become part of your decor.
Okay, so a lot of stuff you can turn into, really turn it into a really cool way.
Yeah.
So you're located in Minocqua. What else would you like to share with our viewers, kind of last minute tips?
Well, You can, if you want more inspiration, you can follow my blog too at whitearrowshome.com and on all the social media, Instagram, those places at White Arrows Home. And then you can come and visit us at the shop in Minocqua on Highway 51. We're 1 mile south of the island, and everything is online as well from the entire shop.
Okay, well, thank you, Kristen, so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, coming up, we will be talking about concerts for this summer after this break.